guys that are fired up about playing fullbacks or tight end in high school. If they have that body structure, they'd rather go over and play defensive end. So it's really hard to identify them and come up with them enough to recruit.
You're going to try. So I assume there are times you're trying to find a tight end and a defensive end and maybe move him to that spot.
We do that. Yeah, athletically, a little more evaluation involved if they haven't caught any passes, knowing what kind of eye-hand coordination they have. But it can happen. James Castleman, of course, he was bigger. You know, when we were recruiting him, he was 245 pounds. He ended up being 300. But he was that type of body structure. We didn't know he was going to be 300 pounds. Jarrell Owens is that body structure for us. So they're important to our offense.
Mike, Dana Holgerson is given some credit to his time at Oklahoma State for some of the morphing to more running in the offense this year and last year. What did you see from some of the time that you all were together that are elements of that?
Well, I've said this. I've done a lot of dumb things in coaching in my head coaching time, but I've done a lot of smart things. One of them was hiring him. He was a perfect fit for who we were at that particular time. And, we had a great 10 months or whatever it was before he left to go to West Virginia. And one thing that I've never tried to hide and always said is that probably 90% of the offense that we run over the period that I've been there with however many coordinators are plays that we've taken from somebody else. And we took what we thought he was best at, and we still have it in our offense today. And Dana's a smart guy. I'm sure he took some of the things that he thought we were good at, and he's carrying into West Virginia.
Does that make it more difficult to prep to play against each other just because you're kind of inside each other's heads?
Well, we use a lot of the same terminology still to this day. He uses it because I see him on TV, and I know what he's saying. It's the same stuff. But when are you going to use it and whatever? You can't do it. He's been gone long enough that it really doesn't carry over much anymore. But there'll always be a lot of terminology similarities between the two because of the similarities of some of the passing game that we stole from him and some of the running game that he took from us.
Does your job get more difficult as you get older? Just in general, just big picture question about your profession. In terms of the energy you've got to throw into recruiting.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. That's why it's amazing what Coach Snyder does.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll coach. I don't think I'll coach when I'm 60.
You don't think you'll go that far?
No. I don't have the energy. It takes a ton of energy in the world today, to run all over the place like you do. Go grab food and go get an interview and drive home late at night and go watch a game. Well, it's the same thing for us. Go to work early, deal with all the stuff you deal with 135 players, talk to the media, recruit, talk to kids. And I was doing a leadership deal out here in Boston a couple of weeks ago, and John Calipari was involved in it. And they asked him, and he said, they talked about recruiting, energy. He said, I'm 50 years old or 51. He said, I'm recruiting 18-year-old kids. I don't have anything in common with them. I don't know what to talk about. Well, he's really the first guy that said that, and he's right. So every year it gets a little more difficult, just whether you have enough energy to do what it takes to be successful.
How will you know when you're ready to be done?
They tell me you'll just know. I'm nowhere near that, I don't think, but they tell me that you'll get to a point you'll be like, I don't want to do that anymore.
Can I get some feedback on our bingo card that we made?
Was that you involved in that? Yeah. It's awesome.
Is there anything you want to add or take away?
Well, I've studied it briefly, and there's 25 of them here, and there's a lot of people around, so I hadn't really been able to focus, but it's pretty awesome. Pretty good stuff. I was going to take it home to my kids.
Mike, how did you guys find a guy like James Washington in town as small as Stanford, Texas?
Casey Dunn is fabulous at what he does. He's obviously coached Whitehouse for us, but he identifies all these guys. And I think he's been with me now like 9 years, or 8, I can't remember how many years. All these guys that have come through here, the last class was Justin Blackman, and then that was Brewer. But Casey Dunn has brought all these wideouts in, and he identifies them. he evaluates them himself. He didn't care what they're rated. He didn't care anything about that, what their stats are. And he found him. And I still remember him coming in my office. I think it was October. And he said, "Coach, I've got a kid I need you to see. He's at a real small school in West Texas, and he's a tennis player, basketball player, baseball player, football player, all these different things." And he said, "I think he's a big-time player, but nobody's recruiting him." So anyway, whatever, and that's how we found him. And then I think TCU got on him maybe, but really wasn't much of a recruit battle.
Is it ever hard to convince yourself that you're recruiting the right guy when maybe nobody else is recruiting him?
Not really anymore.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of success taking. Justin Blackman was a 2-star. We've had a lot of success taking guys that other people didn't think were good enough, and we thought they fit what we did. Maybe they wouldn't be good enough somewhere else.
Yeah.
Do you ever worry about it? Sure, but you got to go with what you think's best.
Coach, what does freshman Baron Odom